And if you watch my garden channel, you would have seen the aquaponic lettuce going really, really well. Look at that Stingray flavored lettuce. I haven't done anything with the Murray cod. The Murray cod is still in the big tub. He's getting pretty feisty at the moment. There he is down there. A big, big fish. But anyway, in this video, we're going to go through the changes that I've done and what we're doing, and awesome, awesome stuff in my sump. I know, what the heck. Anyway, let's jump around the other side. And it's been another week, and yes, I have moved more stuff around. Yes, we now have 4-foot tanks connected to the baby grow out system, and I have more fish in the baby grow out system. I know, there are fish everywhere. Look at that cloud of baby fish. Some of them are getting a decent size now. I've managed to move the bigger ones out of here, and they are now down the bottom in these 4-footers, and these 4-foot tanks are connected to the sump system on this, which is just the tubs. Yeah, if we come around here, it's kind of a little bit messy and all over the place, but these 4-foot tanks were the ones that had the Africans in it. Now they've got the Central and South Americans in it. There's gold dust geo, the parrots, and all that growing up are in here. Down the bottom, where there's a dog's tail. Oh, I nearly got that dog's tail too. Everyone is completely hiding because they saw the dog. They saw you. And, yep, no, we're not going to see anyone. There's a blue-eyed cichlid in the crack. Anyway, those 2 tanks there are hooked up, and we'll show you how dodgy they are hooked up. They're just using, again, another canister filter. Canister filter is sucking water out of the sump and then pumping into the top tank. I've got really old fittings. Look how old these fittings are. Yeah, I've had these fittings like 20 years or something, maybe longer. All jammed into each other. Even got a small leak. Whoop-de-doo. Small leak is not an issue. Water siphoning into there or overflowing, and then water going back into the sump. That's it. That is how you hook a couple of tanks. Oh, and I do have my panda barbs in here. I did pinch some panda barbs. You can't even see them because of the reflection. There is one. They are so awesome. Kind of see them, kind of can't. I pinched 7. I know, 3 boys and the rest are girls. What's that, 4 girls? I should be able to count. There's a couple of girls there. There is a boy there. So awesome, look at him. Anyway, enough about panda barbs. All this is sort of settled down. These are the 2 4-foots with the Malawi cichlids in it. So my white lips, the albinos, all that sort of wonderful stuff. Same with them, the rostratus and everything. Everything is doing fine. I am going to update these canister filters. I think I said in the last FISHROOM video. Haven't done that yet because new canisters cost a fair bit. And a few people have asked me if I recommend these. Yes, I'm not going to use anything that I don't recommend, and I'm not getting paid by Awazi. I'll never get paid by bloody Awazi. But they are good little filters, mainly because of the pre-filter, and there's a heater in them, and they're made in Germany, so they're not a really cheap, nasty filter. I know a few people online have had issues with them, apparently, mainly in the UK and that. I don't know if that's older models or whatever it is, but I haven't had any issues with them. But again, saying that, some people recommend the really cheap, crappy ones as well and say they don't have any problems with them. So until I find any problems with them, and I've been using them for the last year or so, I will recommend them. Yeah, as soon as I have an issue with them, that's the end of that. But they are really good filters. And I'm not saying that because I sell them. I'm saying that because I use them. Haha. Anyway, on this side, I have moved this big stand in. Finally, I had to move everything around to move this in. This is a 5-foot by 2.5-foot stand. So I do have 4 big tanks for this. Obviously I'll have to put something on the legs or under the legs like that hardwood there just to level it all down so it doesn't go through the bricks. But that is my new stand, and all going well, I'll have, I don't know, I think just the 4 tanks on there. They're not 4 foot, 3.5 foot or something weird. No, they're 2.5 foot because this is 5 foot. 2.5 foot by 2 foot high. They're huge, huge tanks, all 10mm glass. But that will give me more room. I'll plumb that into possibly this tank. Why do you just sit there like that? He's like, don't you film me. But I am filming you. It is very, very early morning. But that is the Queensland grouper. I am going to move him. He doesn't look big when he's hidden in the back there, but he is about 2.5 foot now. I know, I need to sort you out as well. there we are with this. Anyway, so that is in its place. I will sort that out when I sort that out. But this system around here, I've started redoing. And this was originally the Corydora system. Then it was heaps of baby fish system. Then it was just a dumping ground for lots of other fish system. And now I've started to split the cories back up. I am going to get some sand substrates the next day or so and give them a nice layer of sand to play with. But now I've separated them, and these are obviously not cories. These are your emerald green broches cats. They're all sort of doing that we potentially want to spawn thing, even though the females aren't conditioned. But I think it's just the water temperature at the moment, because this system always runs a little bit cooler than the other systems. And the fact that we've had a little bit of rain, that sort of half triggered them to do their thing. My long fin bronze are going super well. These are ones we bred, last year. I know, I brought a whole lot into the shop to sell months ago. They all sold really, really well because look how awesome they are. I know, when we get them from the wholesalers, they don't seem to have the really, really big flowing fins that these guys and girls develop. So I do want to spawn them again when I get 5 minutes. And that one, focus. Yeah, that one. There we go. I was going to say it didn't have noticeably long tail, but he's got noticeably long tail. Very, very cool fish. But this video is mostly what I found in my sump. And if you haven't seen any of these systems before, these are standard 2 foot by 1 foot tanks. They've got overflows, the water siphons into the tank below and then into the sump. I've had lots and lots of different fish over the years in here, and the sump just is a big breeding ground for a whole lot of stuff. And the sump is not filter media. That is annoying me, that pump. I don't know if you can hear that. You probably can. Can you hear that, Benji? You do paths. But in the sump, and there is one right there. Check out that awesome cherry shrimp. I know, you're going, what? You found cherry shrimp in your sump? Well, I did find cherry shrimp in my sump. There is baby cories. There are really cool blue endlers, which always go through the overflows. There's bristlenose. There's a bristlenose there. But this whole sump system is not filtration. All it is just holding water as the water trickles down these pipes and then gets pumped with that noisy pump back up the top. So I found a lot of cherry shrimp. And this is kind of cool because I want to get back into breeding cherry shrimp. Now, if you breed cherry shrimp with in a tank with fish, you get all sorts of weird colors because the fish pick off all the colorful shrimp. So there are an absolute ton. Oh, there's a few reds. Okay, excitement. Ooh, a red shrimp, yes. We're talking about a $3 shrimp. But there are tons and tons of other different colors, which I cannot focus in there because it doesn't want to focus. I can't even see any now. Honestly, there is probably about, maybe about 300 shrimp. So I've placed them up the top. I have a fine grill mesh on the top of that overflow, if we can get over there. So only little baby ones are going to go through that. But all going well, I should contain them in there. Shrimp, I know. Now, everyone's going to say that's really boring. Ha 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 ha. If you don't know me, well, you wouldn't know, like 20 years ago, I had 50, 60 shrimp tanks with all different colors and went batshit crazy on shrimp. So I'm trying not to do that, but I am, there's some there. I am going to split them up into different colors and line breed them because that's what we do. And saying that, I actually do have another tank down here of blue neocaradina shrimp. Thanks to a lovely lady that gave me all her shrimp as she was getting out of her tank. So these have been in here for the last, maybe, gotta say, probably 3 or 4 weeks. And they're now just starting to mass produce. Really hard to see blue shrimp on black substrate. But there's a lot of shrimp in there. I know, and I like shrimp. So these are all going to be line bred as well, so I can mix and match and get cool colors out of them. There are tons of little babies, really hard to see. See, boring ones like those clear-ish ones, and then some bright blue ones. So with your shrimp, if you line breed them, and that tank is currently off this whole system, but if you line breed them, you're going to get really, really nice colors, and you can just go completely crazy and multiple line breed them and stuff like that. But getting back to this tank system, there are still hundreds of shrimp in the sump, so I will start harvesting shrimp. I know that just sounds crazy, but the Corydoras. Now, I cannot remember what number the Corydoras are in this tank. What is that one doing in that pipe? I'm going to go rescue that Corydoras. I'll be back. And that was a Corydora similis. There he is. He's fine. Here's one of the Corydora similis I did not realize were in that tank when I moved them all around yesterday. So in this tank, if we can even find them at the back, they are high fin something. Those guys and girls there. With the dodgy old rusty razor blade that's dropped in there, which I use to clean my glass. Let's get that out. Okay, I cannot remember their number, CW something hyphen. If you remember or you know their number, comment down below, because yeah, it's been years. They have never bred. I haven't really given them a huge effort or anything like that. I will start to baby them all again because I had a lot of Corydoras breeding in the last year and a half. Well, it probably was a year and a half ago, I think, when I was breeding all the Corys. Just sort of stopped while I was doing other stuff. But CW something, I know, that's the Corydoras number, so it could be CW anything. There and there, you saw the broches cats, you saw the long fin bronze. In here we have some very, very old orange Venezuelans way at the back, which are just like the same species as your bronze, but they develop that really nice orange and blue hue. Not really showing much color because they're just in a bare bottom tank, but sand will be coming in the next day or so. Now, you saw the similis that I just rescued out of the filter pipe, wondering where his mates were. So Corydora similis in there. I think I have some bumblebee Corys next door. There they are. They're very cool Corydoras. I've had these for a long time. Never actually bred this species. No reason why not. I did find babies in the sump a long time ago, so technically I did breed them, but if you breed something without trying, is it really even breeding them? But yeah, they are in there. Everything is separated. I have some Stingray Corys in here, right at the back. We're not going to disturb them. Gold lasers in there, and of course the awesome albino peppards in here. I know they don't look that awesome on camera until you get the right hue to them, but they are a really cool fish. So they're all lurking around in there. Oh, and over here in the big mess, we have peppered Corys as well. So I've moved the peppered to this system. They are all lurking around doing their peppered Corydoras thing. Because yeah, why have I got peppered Corydoras in the cichlid grow-out system? They're just over there. I thought that was a good place for them because even though I've got a spare tank up there, I want something else in there. But that is where we are with the Corydoras system. Obviously a few better fish still in the system and other things lurking around. But also, moving along, I have not done anything to these tanks, so tons and tons of Malawi cichlids still. I do plan on getting lights for these tanks and lights for those tanks so we can film at night, because at the moment it's early morning because I don't have any lights on these tanks, so can't really film when after hours when I get back from work. Yeah, all going well, I have lights on these and those in the next month or so. And I'm just using these Dimax lights. Again, not sponsored by Dimax. I do use a lot of Dimax products, a lot of their flake food, because you get like 500 grams for like $59 retail. I know. And yeah, apart from Vitalis, Dimax is the main one I use. And everything likes their flakes. Yeah, they like their flakes. That's a crazy amount of fish, isn't it? I forget how many baby fish I've got until I burn through one of those in a couple of days. Yeah, but I feed them a big variety of stuff as well, not just Dimax. Vitalis is probably one of the better ones, and that's your Vitalis Tropical Flakes. If you've never used this stuff before, it is awesome. Takes a little while for the fish to get used to it, but it is a soft flake. And I'm sure I've got flakes in here. I have a lot of empty containers because I just go through it. There it is there. So it is a different sort of, feel than your normal flakes. So I bet these guys and girls won't eat because they're so delicate. Oh, there you go. Num nums, num nums. But it's just a nice soft flake, so it's not hard or anything like that. So that way, it's easier for them to digest. Not that they can't digest the hard flake, but they cold press their food, they don't bake it. So again, it's a lot easier for the fish to digest, and there's more trace elements and minerals. Not that, cichlids and stuff have any issue with that. And I don't think it's overly dear. I'm pretty sure, what's this? 40 grams is $19.95. So obviously it's dearer than the Dimax, but it's worth it. It is a good food. Anyway, all the Tanganicans are going well. I did spawn the Hoplo catfish again, but a bit of a disaster this time. The problem with spawning them is usually I use RO water, which you would have seen in the last video if you saw that. I was setting up RO and all that sort of stuff. And I decided, let's try them with slightly harder water. He built a huge nest of bubbles, as you can see on screen. Everything was fine. A day or two later, I saw the eggs in there. I thought, sweet, he's doing what he should be doing. Checked the eggs a couple of days later and they actually had fungus because of the water hardness. I know, sometimes fish won't fertilize them properly if the water isn't the right hardness or GH or mineral content. So I put them in a separate tank, turned it off the system, used the old school method of methylene blue, which is an antifungal, just to stop the fungus from spreading to other eggs. But I'm pretty sure, and I'm going to check now, we've lost most of the eggs. Oh, actually, we haven't lost most of them, maybe half of them. So all those blue fungus blobs. There are still some good eggs. Whether or not they hatch before the fungus takes over is another thing. You can do that to bubble nest builder eggs because they're used to bubbles and stuff. Bit of a shame. I've even got a heater, an extra heater in this tank just to raise the temperature up a little bit. So hopefully they will hatch. Yeah, but we're not holding much hope for that. So they will spawn at a slightly higher pH and higher GH, but you're going to get a failed batch of eggs. But that's how you learn stuff. People go, oh no, I just dumped them in a tank and they spawn right. Do you know what your water's like? No, I don't check my water. You don't need to do that. And they survive. Okay, cool. Well, ideally you do need to check your water because it may have been just right when they spawned, and the next time you recreate it, they don't spawn because you didn't know what your water quality was like. Anyway, we won't get too much into that, but water quality matters if you want decent batches of stuff. It's a shame because I did want to breed more Hoplos. Now I'll just wait a month or two for the other female to get conditioned and try them again. So that's not a huge issue anyway. But as I said, we're breeding for fun, not breeding just to build up numbers or anything. What are you sniffing at, Benji? Woof! As he goes underneath a fish tank stand. Otherwise, what do we got? Yeah, a few other things breeding or thinking about breeding at the moment. I do need to breed these little guys and girls, which are my coolie loaches. As Paul pointed out, I haven't done anything with them. I know, they've just been lurking around in this tank, but there's some females starting to fill with eggs. Just been conditioning them. They're just in a bottom tank, which is all on the same system. Some really nice longfin albino cherry barbs. We did breed those 6 or 8 months ago. I need to spawn them again. They're an easy fish to breed. Oh, and I did, as you can see next door, pinch some fish. Look how cool they are. They're not albino. I think they're leucistic. Blue Kerrytetrads or emperor tetrads. How cool are they? I know, I think I've still got a few available in the shop. If you can see them through the minge and the dog tails. Really, dog? They are such a cool tetra. So I've got those quarantining in this tank at the moment. I had to take some. I think I pinched 7 or 8 because you can tell males and females. I know. They are a super cool fish. When they mature, and they get the size of these albinos, and these are just your normal albino emperor tetras, they're going to have a really nice purple hue to them. Wow, that girl there is, oh, look at the grouper in the background. There you go. You're actually moving. That's good. Time to wake up. But yeah, how awesome are they? So yeah, there's a few really gravid girls in there. There's the little babies. I know, they just spawn like any other tetra RO, and the babies are so small, it's just painful. They end. Pretty easy. I think I've got a few videos on spawning tetras. I'll do some more eventually when I get motivated and spawn them. I have not even looked in here to see if any of the pygmy cory eggs have survived. There's the little group of them hovering at the back. They're just too small to even see as well. But they should have survived. If they haven't, they haven't. But that is sort of where we are with all that sort of setup. Not much has happened in the big tanks. I will update you on them eventually. I am moving everything around as well. Yeah, everything is pretty much exactly the same at the moment. That's still murky. It's always going to be murky because of the leaf litter and stuff I've got in there. But just bichir and a few other cool fish and bigger monster fish, but we will show you an update on those eventually. But I thought I just want to share the excitement that is shrimp. You're like, what? Shrimp are not exciting? Yes, shrimp are exciting. Well, for me anyway. Anyway, that is an update on this, what is happening in the fish room thingy. If you want to see more fish room videos, I've got a playlist at the end of this, but hopefully, I don't know if I'm going to do the tanks I've already got for that, or maybe some custom tanks. What do you reckon? Comment down below, would you do custom tanks? I probably want to do custom tanks. But I don't know what tanks I'm going to get. I don't particularly want one big tank. So, because of moving them and that, maybe I'll get 1, 2, 3, 4 and just have them, I don't know, a nice sized tank. I don't know. Comment down below. It's just going to be more grow out room, probably for Malawi cichlids, because yeah, they're look at you going for it. I probably should clean that glass. Such cool fish. Probably just for Malawi cichlids. Maybe have a couple, well, maybe smaller tanks up the top for grow out, and then bigger tanks down the bottom for the adults, and just have them on the same sort of system. I'm liking the canister filter way of doing it, because one Awazi canister filter with a heater does the tanks, so I can just replace that one, get rid of the controller and the heaters I've got around the other side, and just, yeah, just do that. I think that's a lot easier, more manageable, and each system is separate, so if something happens in the system, it doesn't affect the next system. Because yeah, this system's the same. There we go, we have the old, what's that? That is the 250. 250 pumping the water from that to that, but I've also got an Awazi hang on the side. They kick ass. They're 1,000 litres an hour. I know. Someone also asked me if I recommend those. Of course I bloody do. I use them. They work really, really well. And I don't like many hang-on filters. Seachem 1 was okay, the Seachem Tidal, but I think the Awazi one is a lot better than that. Anyway, we're going to end the video now. Otherwise, I'm just going to waffle on about fish for hours, and I've got other stuff to do. So many cool baby fish. Any questions, just comment down below. Any suggestions, comment down below. That would be wonderful. I do get back to everyone's comments. Yeah, yay shrimp. How cool. I like the cories. I think it's time for cories again. Anyway, see you in the next video.